let's talk about the clarinet today. Clarinet comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And we're going to start here from the bottom. We're going to build the clarinet from the bottom to the top. We're going to really talk about, how you put the instrument together and how you make your first sounds on it. So we start at the bottom. Here's the bell. The bell is part of the resonator. Then you have your lower tenon joint. Usually you can tell your lower tenon joint because this piece right here, this is your thumb rest. And that thumb rest is always on the lower part. So there's this cork on all the pieces. So first, after I explain all these pieces, then I'll show you how to put these together. You have your upper tenon joint. Looks very similar to the lower tenon joint. It has all these keys right here on the side. This is for your right hand to play these keys. You have a thumb key on the back here for your thumb, and a couple other keys that we'll talk about too. Again, you have cork on the bottom and on the top for this piece. Then you have your barrel. This is where a lot of the tuning happens. This extends the instrument out just a little bit so that you play in tune. And then you have your mouthpiece. This, again, mouthpiece has the cork on the bottom. That cork is really important. It is what holds it together, but it can be easily damaged if we don't take care of it. On here, you also have a reed and a ligature, and we'll talk about how to use those here in a sec. But first, to put it together, we want to make sure that we apply a little bit of this cork grease to each of the tenon joints as we put them together. Doesn't take a this clarinet is a well-used clarinet, so the cork on here is pretty saturated with cork grease, so I don't need a whole bunch to get it put together, but just a little bit on there. And then I can put the bell, and I just give it a gentle twist as I put it on. The next one I'm going to do is the upper tenon joint. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of cork grease on there. Doesn't need a whole bunch on this one because it's pretty used. In fact, probably need some new cork soon. Now on this one, there's a key right here that if we're not careful, we can actually snap it off if we don't do this right, because that key goes underneath this piece right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push this ring right here, and so it pushes that out of the way. And then I'm going to try to not push any of these keys. So what I do is I put them together and I just gently twist and I make sure that it's out of the way so I don't break it off. Once it's there, then I just make sure that the keys are lined up. All these holes are lined up in a row right here. Okay. Now, I'm going to put a little bit more cork grease up here on the upper tenon joint here. And then I can put the barrel on. Just slides right on, give it a little twist, and then here is a little grease on my mouthpiece, and that one will slide right in there. Okay, this is a put together clarinet, but it's not going to do much because I don't have a reed on there. So we're going to take this reed. Reeds are made out of a cane, and they need to be damp when you play them. They shouldn't be soaking wet, but they should be damp. So generally what we do is we stick them in our mouth for about 30 seconds or so and get them wet. And we want to get the whole reed wet if we can. So we can just... So this is a wet reed now. And if we look at this, I'm going to put the reed on, and there's a spot you want to line it up at. So first of all, there is a flat part on the reed. The backside is flat, and then this side has a curve. You want the flat against the flat of the mouthpiece. I'm going to put that on there. And I am trying to line the tip of the reed up as close to the tip of the mouthpiece. I should be able to see just a little bit of the mouthpiece above the tip of the reed. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking about it is a very small amount. Ligature. Ligature is what holds the reed on. And generally, I want the screw of the ligature facing to my right. So on some ligatures. The screw is on the side with the reed, and I want to make sure it's to the right. So even if it's on the side with the reed, I want to make sure that the screws are to the right. Okay, so that is, actually it's a little bit off. Try and center this as best I can. Okay, so there is a put together clarinet, and when I make my first sounds on here, there are a few things. Let me put this down. When I'm making sounds on a clarinet, I'm looking for when I play the clarinet, I want my mouth. It ends up looking kind of like a chipmunk, a weird looking chipmunk. But I'm going to gently and just slowly, not slowly, but I'm going to pull my bottom lip over my bottom teeth, and I'm not necessarily covering like all the way under, just enough to cover my bottom teeth. Okay, and my top teeth are going to sit on top of the mouthpiece. So if I was to I'm going to just use the barrel here, mouthpiece. If I was just to take this and stick the mouthpiece on my top teeth like this, and then I'm going to close my mouth around it like a cinch sack. So it's the bags that have the two ropes on the top that you just pull, and it closes them. That's called a cinch sack. It's going to be similar with my lips, that I'm going to go here, and that's going to give me a good place to put my mouthpiece. There's going to be a little bit of experimentation on this, because how much mouthpiece do you put in? If you're putting too little in, it's not going to work. If you put too much in, it's not going to work. You have to find kind of the right spot. So when I do this, I'm going to set my top teeth first, and then my bottom lip on the mouthpiece and reed. So for instance, top teeth, everything else, and then that gives me a good clear sound. When you put the mouthpiece in your mouth, you're trying to get the right amount of mouthpiece in your mouth so that it doesn't, so that it actually works. If you put too much in your mouth, you get a squawk. If you put too little in there, it's really hard to make a sound, because your lips are pinching this closed so that this doesn't make a sound. So I want to show you a couple tricks to know if your reed is in the right place. First of all, I'm going to create suction. I'm going to cover the bottom of the barrel, and I'm going to create suction. And if I can create a seal, then my reed is in the right spot. I guess this is for finding out if your reed is in the right spot. So I can come up here and go. And if you heard that, there's a little pop that says that it was sealed enough. I can go. Okay, so that creates a seal. I know my reed is in the right spot. The second thing is getting enough mouthpiece in your mouth. So if I take this and I just here, I don't know if I have enough. If I have too little, I close this up, it doesn't work. If I have too much, sounds like I'm a seagull that's dying. If I take a piece of paper though, and I take this right here, and I can slide the piece of paper between the reed and the mouthpiece, and there's a part where it just naturally wants to stop. You're not going to force it in, it stops. So then I can take a pencil and just draw a line here. That line is for my thumb. So there's my line, and I'm going to put my thumb there. So if I put my thumb like that, right on pointing to that line, put this in and make sure my thumb is hitting my bottom lip. Now I have enough in. And that's an easy way to kind of figure out how much mouthpiece you need to have in your mouth to make a good tone. So again, line, thumb pointing to the line, stick it in so your thumb hits your bottom lip, close your mouth, and blow. And that should give you a good estimate on how much mouthpiece you need. Now, I wouldn't do that on every single reed that I own. I would do it on one reed and practice getting it in the right spot, and then take my thumb away and see if I can get it in the right spot every time. There's a feel when it's in your mouth. You can feel when there's when there's not enough in your mouth, or when there's too much, and that's something you have to get used to. We don't want to rely on lines on a reed for us to always get our mouth in the right spot, because that takes too long. Sometimes when you have only a couple measures or something like that to put your instrument up and get ready to go, as a beginner especially, we're not trying to set our fingers, look at our reed, get it set up, and then we just need to be able to take our instrument, put it up, and go. So thank you guys. This is the beginning. Make sure that when you put them together, you're checking. Make sure you're checking for the key right here so you don't damage the key when you're putting it together. Make sure that the screw is on the right-hand side of your mouthpiece. And make sure that your reed is just right at the tip of the mouthpiece. Okay? Until then, bye.